What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we've got Bible study. We're going to be reading Luke chapter 6 verses 39 through 45. This is what was read in church this morning. Jesus told his disciples a parable. Can a blind person guide a blind person? Will not both fall into a pit? No disciple is superior to the teacher, but when fully trained, every disciple will be like his teacher. Why do you notice the splinter in your brother's eye, but do not perceive the wooden beam in your own? How can you say to your brother, "Brother, let me remove that splinter in your eye," when you do not even notice the wooden beam in your own eye? You hypocrite! Remove the wooden beam from your eye first. Then you will see clearly to remove the splinter in your brother's eye. A good tree does not bear rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree bear good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For people do not pick figs from thorn bushes, nor do they gather grapes from brambles. A good person out of the store of goodness in his heart produces good, but an evil person out of a store of evil produces evil. For from the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks. The gospel of the Lord. My own personal interpretation of this is you have to fix your own problems before you can fix other people's. If someone confides in me that they've been drinking a lot, I can't give them advice if I'm doing the same thing. If someone asks me how to get closer to God, I can't help them if I myself am not close to God. If someone tells me, yo, my girl and I have been going through it, what should I do? Personally, I've never been in a healthy relationship, so there's no good advice I can give them. That would be the blind leading the blind. So how do you remove the wooden beam from your own eye? The answer is always to turn to God. When you turn to God and get closer to Him, you'll just feel it in your soul. What's the right thing for me to be doing right now? As I said in the last book review, there's no point of knowing what you should do and then not acting on it. A good example of this is I know it's a bad thing to be going around here sleeping with a bunch of women. God has provided me every sign that first of all is bad for my soul and second of all is dangerous. That sin, along with others, prevents me from getting closer to God. How do you get closer to God? Pray every day, multiple times a day. Read the Bible and obey His commands. And once you get closer to God, you can help other people do the same. And that's one of the most fulfilling things you can do. One of my New Year's resolutions was to talk to new people. Talking to a new person at first, the conversations are normally a lot more lighthearted, surface level stuff like sports, music. But then as time moves on, you get to know them at a deeper level. You get to ask deeper questions. What do you think your purpose on this earth is? What's a tough time that you went through? What do you think happens when we die? And I enjoy asking these deeper questions because they almost always lead back to a conversation about God. I feel like you should talk about God as much as possible. It's not really socially acceptable the first time you meet someone to be like, yo, what God do you believe in? I still feel like you need to get to know people first. But then when you talk about God with someone, you realize everyone has a different relationship with Him. He made each and every one of us to be unique. So it makes sense that all our relationships with Him are unique. So the more perspectives you gain about God, the more you'll be able to help lead people towards Him. You can tell someone how God helped you, then you can tell someone how God helped somebody else. Someone who may have a similar problem as the person you're talking to. These God-driven conversations are the good fruits that come from the good tree. You can be the good tree by being rooted in God. And I feel like that's my purpose now, to help lead people towards God. I do it with this channel, but I need to find ways to do it in my everyday life. I feel like I have a lot of wisdom that I can drop on the youngins. I know I'm not the smartest monkey in the jungle, but I do feel as though I'm one of the wisest monkeys in the jungle. So I want to go back to programs that I feel like help me out. I want to go back and be an assistant coach at tennis or football, or go back to my old Boy Scout troop and try to help them out. A big stigma about Boy Scouts is that they're a bunch of dweebs. That's not necessarily true. Some of them are. I may not be the coolest cucumber, but I know I'm not a dweeb. But it's important that they have a young adult to look up to. Also, I'm an Eagle Scout. You trying to go badge for badge? So I can show them if I can do it, they can do it too. And by doing those things, I could help the youth stay close to God. At that age, it's not very cool to be close to God and talk about it. So I feel like that would be important. So that's all I got for today. This week, you guys get a challenge. The challenge is talk to someone about God. Share your story with them. It might have a bigger impact than you realize. Thank you for watching today's video. We'll see you in the next one. Stay jiggy.